In today's video, I'm sharing with you a 2025 trend that is about to take off. I literally could not get to my camera fast enough to film this for you because this is going to be huge for all Etsy sellers. I apologize for the movement and the noise in the background. I am in sunny Florida visiting my parents, and this is pretty much the best spot for me to film, so bear with me as the cars go by. I have done a massive deep dive into this trend, and I'm going to share with you all of the ins and outs. I'm going to show you design examples, font examples, and even the types of mock-ups that I would use to sell this aesthetic and trend on my print-on-demand products. All right, now let's finally get into it. The trend that I'm going to talk to you about is the fisherman aesthetic. And this is not to be confused with the fisherman niche. It can kind of be combined with that, but it's more of an aesthetic. I'm going to show you what I mean by this. It's not necessarily making shirts for fishermen. It's going to be more for people who are into fashion and want to keep up with the fashion trends. Now, how do I know this to be true? So, numerous ways. The way I do my niche or trend research is basically through social media. So taking time to scroll through Instagram, scroll through TikTok, and a lot of times I just keep an eye on repetition throughout my For You pages. So what are people wearing? What are people talking about? And this time of year, there's a lot of people talking about the 2025 fashion trends. So I started seeing the fisherman aesthetic pop up over and over again, and then that's what alarmed me to dive into it deeper. And it is, in fact, going to be trending from now to the end of 2025 at least. And I think it's going to really spike in the spring and summertime, which is why now is the best time to act on it. Because typically I allow 90 days from the time I put my listings up to the time that a trend or aesthetic is really going to spike, or 90 days before a holiday or an event is the best time in my eyes to get your listings up so it has time to gain traction throughout the algorithm. Of course, you can still make sales if you put up listings last minute, but for me, I've found that getting ahead of the wave is the best place to be. So you are in the right place at the right time. And further into my research, I found that Pinterest actually predicts that this will be a viral 2025 trend as well. Also, while we're at it, if you didn't even set up your print-on-demand Etsy shop yet, in the description below, I will also link my free print-on-demand to freedom course. It's going to help you start an Etsy shop, help you sign up on PRINTIFY, sync the two together, and get your first listings up as soon as today. All right, so if we go to Pinterest and we type in fisherman aesthetic, we're going to get a lot of ideas here. So of course, there are other products that are not print-on-demand related, but we can get a lot of ideas that can be applied to our designs that will go on print-on-demand products. So right away, I'm seeing lobsters, I'm seeing navy blue sweaters with white print or with red print. There is a tote bag here with a fish on it. We have an oversized t-shirt here with sardines on it. I'm seeing a lot of sardine prints. Here is this brown sweatshirt with the sardines on it, and you can see how simple it is. It's just 3 sardines and they're one color, and these are the types of designs that are going to be selling. They're pretty simple. It doesn't have to be super complicated. I'm seeing anchors. Here's another tote bag with fish on it, phone cases, shirts that have just one big fish on it. We have socks, cell phone cases, tumblers, t-shirts. There are so many products that this niche can be applied to, or this aesthetic that can be applied to. You're going to get so many ideas if you just do exactly what I'm doing now. Take 10 to 15 minutes to browse Pinterest and get those creative juices flowing. You can even come up here to fashion or outfit to dive in even deeper. You could even look up the nautical aesthetic or the coastal aesthetic and combine a lot of these together to make your own designs. And by the way, I actually have my eye on another trend that I think is going to come about, but I'm not ready to make content on it because I need to fully research and deep dive into it to make sure it's worth sharing with you guys. So be on the lookout in the next couple weeks for another trend alert, or niche alert, I like to call these, because I think it's something that could be really big. But again, I want to make sure it's worth your time before I share it with you. So just stay on the lookout for more to come. Now let's talk about how we can integrate the fisherman aesthetic into our Etsy print-on-demand products. There are so many ways, and I'm going to give you a bunch of examples right now. So first, think about nautical quotes like catch of the day or hooked on adventure, and having a really cool graphic of a fish with a nice font, which we're about to get into the types of fonts that I would use, with a nice font saying hooked on adventure. And then maybe just keeping it simple and having some shirts without any writing on it, maybe some icons such as an anchor, waves, or a fish hook. And a really great design aesthetic that can be paired with all of this is that distressed vintage weathered look, almost like it's been at sea for years. We're gonna jump into my computer. I'm gonna show you some designs that I came up with. All right, so I was seeing a lot of very simple designs and a lot of blues, a lot of reds. So I decided to make a few designs to give you some examples, some inspiration. So I made this little design here with a font that I'm about to talk to you about, fonts to definitely use in these designs. This was one of them, with a simple quote at the bottom, be the change. Here is another simple design, a location design for Maine and just a red lobster, pretty simple. Again, I was seeing shirts that also literally just had a lobster on them. But I want to remind you, I actually got this lobster from Canva. You cannot just take one element and save it as a PNG and put it on a print-on-demand product. You have to combine elements within Canva or add text to it to make it your own. So I just wanted to remind you with that. Here are some oysters. I feel that this would be really cute on like home decor, maybe a pillow or a mug. We're going to play around in Printify in just a moment. In my description below, I'm going to leave the list of fonts that I feel will pair really well for this aesthetic. I'll tell you, my favorite ones are the Anchorage, this one here. I really like the Seashore one. I like Together Rough and Vintage Rotter. They're all really great, but those are my favorites. And then here is an example of a mock-up that I would use. I feel like this fits the fisherman aesthetic with the skirt that she has on. You can see like a little t-shirt underneath. This just gives me like the fisherman aesthetic vibes. So I really like this, but any mock-up is going to do really well. I like to purchase mine from Etsy. Here is another one from Watermelon Mocks. She has a ton of really great mock-ups as well. I think for this trend, I'm going to be using mostly the navy blue Gildan and the light blue Gildan. Let's pull in some of my designs to show you how they will look on the mock-ups. So here is a very simple sardine design. All right, make sure to lower the transparency so that it looks like the design is printed into the material. All right, so that's one example there. I love this because it actually matches her skirt as well. All right, here's another example. I feel like this would look really cute on the back of a sweatshirt too. It might be cute to make like a pocket design that says be the change and then like this big design on the back. All right, so now we're in Printify and I'm going to share with you some of the products that I will be using for this trend. So absolutely the sweatshirts. And I like to use the Gildan 18,000. And like I said, the colors I'm mostly going to be using for this trend are light blue and navy. But you can use whichever ones you want. The indigo blue is really pretty as well for this trend. All right, so now I'm gonna pull in one of my designs. So for this one, I actually got the idea from browsing Pinterest. So I saw a sweater that had just a red lobster on it, and then another sweater that just had Maine on it. So I decided to combine the two for this one. We're gonna go to preview. There is my preview of it on the navy color, and here is my preview of it on the light blue color. I also wanted to show you that I did an all over print. I also want to show you the mugs really quick. These mugs are a really great option for this trend. It gives it a little extra flair with the red inside and the red handle, and even this blue one here. And I believe there is a navy blue one. So I would use the red light blue or navy blue one for this trend. And with these, you can get a pretty decent profit margin if you're using Printify Premium. The price is pretty good for this mug. My other go-to mug is this generic one right here. Look at this, $3.50. The profit margin is huge with these. So we're gonna pull in my oyster design for this one. And I'm actually gonna go down and choose create pattern to make like an all over print for this. And you can stretch these out to make it bigger or smaller, whatever you would like. I'm gonna go like this, and then we're gonna preview it up here. And here is an example of what that would look like. I feel like that looks super cute. I feel that this all over print design would look really great on a cell phone case or even pillows. Let's take a look at the pillows. Here is an all over print design for a pillow. I think that looks adorable. And here is an example of it on a couch. I think that those look really nice and would tie in really well with the fisherman aesthetic. And I actually have with me an example of my son's sweater. This isn't print on demand, but it gives you an idea to make this aesthetic on children's clothing as well. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to keep up with all of the 2025 trends that I have coming for you. In the description below, I will also link my free print on demand to freedom course. It's going to help you start an Etsy shop, help you sign up on Printify, sync the two together, and get your first listings up as soon as today.